Away. We didn't give it time to talk about the bans. As guys, welcome to the desk. Where do you want to start here?
You want to take a trouble? I mean, I already looked at the B1 Cho'Gath flex.
Whoa, hold on. B1 Cho'Gath, Syndra already banned. I was expecting some Ari shenanigan to go through, whoever picks Ari first. Because Nemesis was literally saying the reason Barcelona won that first series in the group stage was because Chocolate had Ari in his hands.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the Cho as well. They're going to pick Xin Zhao into it, which is really cool. I just like the Vi takeaway, and I really like it when teams do this, where they take away power picks for Baus, as well as pick the meta, because the meta picks also happen to be his pool in the Cho'Gath and the Vi, so I really like that going forward in the Fearless.
Oh my god, we have got, I think it was Venom Crest in the NLC, where they went into the first game of a best of 5 series and picked all 5 of Baus's champs.
I remember, yeah.
Okay. Ari is going to be picked away from Nemesis right here. I would expect something like Taliyah to be picked here. I feel like Taliyah, Vi are a fantastic duo. You can set up in lane way earlier than that level 6. And the mid-jungle duo shenanigans can be really, really strong in that.
And I know, as you were saying as well, like this is not a Nemesis champion, so Chocolate knows he's going to get at one point or another if it's not banned. We get strong mid-jungle pairings from both. We get a neutralizer for top and the Galio. 80 carries left to isolate right now, so we have to start looking at what to ban away or the engage pairing.
Immediately what I look at in terms of 80 carry pool is, so you can get an R5 on support here for Barça, is I like the Kai'Sa with the Vi dive composition. I also like Jhin over the top with the artillery to follow up on the dive. And then on the other hand, maybe stuff, Kai'Sa also works, but also Ezreal could be great.
I'm just really looking at the Varus right here, because I feel like it has been an S-tier pick for the longest time, purely because of the fact that he can be a very big menace when you go towards lethality, and he always wins lane and you get priority through the bot side of the map. So I feel like if Varus gets left open right here, it would be a fantastic pick for either or. Like for Barcelona, it can hold the advance from the side of LR and vice versa.
Yeah, I also like the Varus on the Vi side of the team, because you have a strong lane to allow Vi to clear early, and you won't have her get invaded because you're going to get prio. But again, I really think bot prio is imperative so that Whiten can roam. So R5 support is the name of the game with blind pick R4 80 carry.
And as well for Whiten, with how he performed in that semi-finals, I mean, getting him a priority engage is crucial in that point too. Double 80 carry ban from Barcelona. Barca. We just fall into this trap.
Yeah.
Spain, what are you doing to us?
Technically them.
It is.
I just want to tweak the name a little bit.
Yeah, well, look, I'll at least get it right from my perspective as the double 80 carry bans. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Jhin ban enables Varus a bit more. It's usually a pick into Varus, also into MF. So if you wanted to go that route, you could. But I do think that Varus, like you're saying, is the best route for R4 here.
I would really like to see potentially Crown even on an Ezreal here. I know he hates the champion. He doesn't think Ezreal is really good, but he's just so good versus champions that really want to dive and all in you. Same thing as Xayah, right? Xayah is fantastic into things like the Vi and the Taliyah. You can evade so many of their crucial spells, particularly the Vi ult that follows through. So I feel like if Barcelona don't take away the Xayah here, Crowny has been a big fan of the champ.
I think another dynamic here is hard engage to dive with, but then the Alistair into it afterwards could be a big deal. Xayah might be a takeaway when you have the Vi.
True. Actually, a really good takeaway, you're right.
Yeah, with Rakan.
Especially with all that dive. On the other side, maybe now it's just going to be a Rakan fish if we're looking at the pairings as negating, as LR, 80 carry into the Xayah. Kai'Sa usually taken here as a response. Zeri in game 1 draft.
Yeah, I'm looking at Zeri Rakan, and then maybe a Leona to counter the Rakan afterwards alongside the Xayah, because you want to break up the Xayah Rakan, but they're going to pick this.
Enchanter.
Straight up hook champions
Zeri Lulu.
I'm getting a little bit worried right here, because primarily you pick Vi into the Zeri. It's one of the champions that really pins down a sleeper champ like Zeri, and now they've picked Zeri into the Vi that already has a bunch of lockdown. You've got Silence coming through the Blitzcrank, bunch of CC on the side of Barcelona. I feel like Los RATONES have a very good front to back later on.
And also, the average size of a Berlin rat is like the length of my arm.
Well, good thing he just doesn't live in Berlin. Well, let's not talk about where they live anyway. Let's get their privacy. Welcome to the Grand Finals, regardless. EMEA has never seen this version of a finals. You guys were talking about it on desk. Spain versus Great Britain. NLC versus the Spaniards.
Superliga.
Superliga.
It's also right there on the whiteboard if you want to read it.
Well, I got a little bit distracted because we are having a 30-second pause apparently. So I won't.
It was fantastic how they played around the mid lane, particularly Chocolate really outpaced Nemesis over in the mid lane, and I feel like that was a big telltale. Legolas right here is about to face all the Avengers coming through.
There's one so, and hard engage ain't going to come that quick as We do have a Lulu on side.
It's usually the Blitzcrank that does this invades in my solo queue, at least, right, you know?
And the level 1 isn't that great for Los
Keeps
Ratones.
going.
They've got a knock-up on Cho, and that's about it. Maybe a Charm Flash if they want to, and they're feeling feisty, but it doesn't look like they're going to go for it. Deep Vision, though, to track the jungler. That's going to be important. And the Blitzcrank lane, what this does is this allows the Zeri Lulu to perma-push in this lane down in bot side and bully under tower. Now, of course, the entire time you've got to be wary and stand behind your minions, but it looks like they're going to go for a repeat. Late invade V2.
Holding, right? Just seeing if someone face checks. I mean, they're looking for bot. Surely that's the idea.
I would say when it comes to that bot lane, because of the ranged synergy from the Lulu and the Zeri, as you mentioned, they push. However, all it takes is one Q from Blitzcrank to take a flash off of either of them, right? So that's kind of scary. They have been spotted. The ward is on the other side.
Wait.
The hook.
Reckless caught out, but it's just simply a heal
Instant
popped
heal.
out. Regardless, it is a summoner taken from wide in, as Velia will continue to do blue.
Yeah, and this is exactly what Los Ratones want. They want to attack the Vi level 1, because that's when Vi is notoriously weak. But Vi should be happy with this. Maybe cross-map up top side with the Prior from the Cho'Gath, who, you know, should be able to get Prior in that lane with the E start. But still, going to attack the bot side, and a split map down in bot when you have a Blitzcrank isn't ideal, because then you can't play too much, and maybe you get dope.
Good point. Reckless check.
The champ. It's because you do play it sometimes. You've got the Shen aura.
Yeah, the threat.
The
Get
threat.
it. Ooh, hook.
It is just simply a hook. It's Ignite for the trade, so a bit of damage going to be done. Remember, Reckless doesn't have that heal from before, so slight advantage here for BARÇA in the bot.
I really like the fact that they're burning the Ignite right here to burn the pots onto Crowny, because in the LPL and the LCK, when you are running barrier on your AD carry, you usually want to take early trades to try and get priority in lane. Right here, Legolas did not have to burn that barrier, but there's no combat spell.
Oh, he caught him. Just
On
he
the
tried
dash.
to E out. Crowny's in so much trouble. He'll have the flash, but he burns it eventually while matching from Legolas. The Q reaches tether. First blood over to BARÇA.
That's exactly what I meant by the early aggression. You pull him, you burn the Ignite, you take his cookies and his pots, and then it's just game on. You grab one hook, you can capitalize on it.
Yeah, recalled on Cheetah Recall and came back with boots as well. And now, like, look, watch this. So he's trying to dash over the wall here, but gets caught mid-dash, so he can't dash away. And then the flash forward from Legolas over the wall as well to chase on the shield from Lulu.
Boy.
The last tick of the feathers, super nice.
Almost, that was rough. Almost Legolas's flash was a bit too much, but Thager now using that opportunity. It's an invade that starts at red. Velia's going to be clearing away Raptor Seam momentarily.
Yeah. He has no bot lane.
I
as
don't
well.
like that, yeah. I'm like, what are you doing here? You have no friends.
Yeah, he has no bot lane. So what happened there was Thager, he's only had one quadrant. He's been 3 quadranted, covered by Velia up to top side, now down to bot, covering every single invade that Thager's tried to make. And Thager, he's really suffering right now.
White in over in the mid lane as well. I feel like Thager has a chance right here to cross through mid and double scuttle Velia. That's kind of the price you have to pay. You go invaded, so eventually Velia is going to have to end up on his bot side. He has to clear his bot side, which means that the Vi gets to get the double scuttle right here and back with a little bit more in her pocket.
Yep.
We
The proxy angle.
We talked about this trouble in our BARÇA series versus KC Blue, where the roams to mid were endless. Maybe a roam to top's going to be next. Thager's at least here. White Knight low on mana, but all it takes is a quick gank, and BARÇA's in trouble. The wave was cleared before, one crashing in, one minion denied for that. Meanwhile, Crowny steps up. Auto from Legolas almost gets a second kill, but Reckless saves the day, and Los Ratones are bleeding right now through multiple points of the map.
Lost Ratones early game? Anyone?
Yeah, the 2v2 is being a bit rough right now. Having the heal burned early means that he dies earlier on, and now almost dying and having to TP back, TPing back here with Baus. So they're going to initiate a lane swap. Zeri's running up topside, and it's quite early on, so it's not going to be quite a grub swap. Baus
Running at them.
He's
Remember, he's got Halo Blades as well. He flashes in front and he gets it! Reckless gets the kill in the end. White is set skyward. All it takes is Glitterlands and slow, and at least one comes through. Baus finally looking for the kill that he was denied, and he gets one too. That TP turns into a kill, turns into a weird top lane gank.
TP's down in bot side and also has Dark Seal stacks. I mean, this is just Crowny getting caught and then also, you know, from the flank around the tri-bush and then getting chunked as well, having to recall. They use this to initiate a swap because they have TP on top side with the winning matchup from Cho'Gath and Galio. And then he just runs them down because Legolas has no flash from the previous play, killing Crowny.
Am I the only one who's just looking at this and I'm like, where the hell does this damage come from? But then you look at the Halo Blades, plus the Lulu buffs coming through, and that's a double kill, or technically one kill only for Baus. Reckless.
Dark Seal stacks, though.
Yeah, but he got the Dark Seal stats, you're
Pretty
right.
nasty.
Eventually this will become a Medjay's. Ooh.
Boy, we burn again. Chocolate. Good shove back. Wind becomes lightning. Velia not following this one up, but that kill really brought the game back to some kind of even moment because Before, we're seeing Crownie forced out of lane. Legolas getting ahead here in the AD carry. Top went a bit disastrously. That's now with a 400 gold lead after his kill.
I think that's a little bit more than kills, though. That was a very free Dragon for Barcelona down the bot side of the map, right?
True.
And right now it's not, because both of those members that were supposed to help for the Dragon have just died, so they had to reset, get back up on the map. And now Checolad was in the mid lane. He hadn't reset yet. He needed more mana, he needed more HP. He had to go back, buy boots, get back. So right now, there's going to be 4 members down the bot lane for Barça. However, White Knight on this Galio won't have his TP available, does have his ult.
3 Talon Strike connects, and Whiting gets charmed out. Easy kill. Even though he gets a charm in, it's another one down. Lost RATONES is starting to pick up gold value in this game, and Trouble, you just talked about that Dragon. Now they're just going to move to the objective easy.
Yeah, so what happened was Lost RATONES opted to match lanes again rather than maintaining the mismatched lanes, but now Baus is going to get ganked.
What else can you do?
JCC?
I mean, Baus is profiting when they're getting a Dragon down bot. Meanwhile, we've got a picture-in-picture because 80 carries are fighting it out. Baus going to get a knock-up. If he gets away from this, it is going to be a disaster.
He's just
for
walking.
Barça. They're going to use Checolad's ulti, so now this walk will turn into a mild run, shoved away, and White Knight will pick him up for fun. There's something at least in top.
And now you have to be very careful down bot lane. There's no level 6 onto Xayah yet, and Velia's over on the bottom of the map. What does Lost RATONES get on the other side? It's just going to be the Dragon for the time being, and Legolas and White will be able to push out that wave. That'll get a hell of a long time to take down that Cho'Gath.
Yeah, the Cho'Gath takes a while to die. You'd get the blue buff on the side for Velia as well as a cooldown from the Taliyah. 150-second cooldown on that Taliyah ult means that both side lanes can now play for a very long time without worry of being ganked by the ulti and the global.
And we just got some more issues there. That's why we're having another pause. We apologize, but apparently this one is
I love top
on its
play.
way to being solved.
Look at the
I feel like if this does go to late game, it's going to be really, really difficult to deal with Cho'Gath, because the second you step up as Xayah or Taliyah, he actually has the damage to one-shot you. Not only is he going to be quote-unquote tanky, because he goes more for like an AP bruisery build usually on the Cho'Gath, but he steps up onto Taliyah or on a Xayah, these two die.
Yeah, it's tricky. I think also, though, they have no tools to force a Xayah ulti, which could be problematic. Running into the feathers and the rocks might be problematic as well. It works really well into the Zeri, Ahri, and Xin Zhao. That might be, you know, the peel is a little bit annoying alongside the Galio versus the melees.
And there's no really hard engage on the side of LR.
Yeah.
I feel like it has been the thorn for them for the longest time. You know, they usually fall into the Brom trap, but right here,
Tech flash. Hang on, we're getting in. White in, blocked by minion wave though. The Blitzcrank counter has taken now with level 6. Wants Crownie, but wow.
Flash gone.
A flash away after he rides the surfboard of the Rock's top.
But that is a flash gone. Both summoners for Zeri right before the Void Grubs fight starts.
Yeah, do they want to contest this still? They still have ulti on Crownie. And
Only stole one.
There you got one. I think that's a big win.
Do you play for 2? The majority is important for the feats.
You don't have the smite for Velia right there.
Oh, charm though. Checolad, it's a big fight, and Velia's going to open it up. Checolad fails a flash into the wall, but they turn for the fight. Legolas, meanwhile, sends the feathers out while he gets popped up against, and Nemesis is riding a wave too, but this one is hard to control. Onto Thega, he's isolated, dead too, and Lost RATONES have just blasted Barça into the ground.
This can't be happening. Whoever plays versus Lost RATONES gets mind control. The flash onto the wall, Legolas dies with flash barrier up. The Thager cues the wall on the Raptors and doesn't go through. It's an absolute disaster for Barça.
I didn't lie. Obviously, it must have been White in then who left the game and came right back in. Don't worry about that. He's here. I hope that's resolved. We'll keep you any updates if there are any tech updates.
He seems to be moving.
He is
on
moving.
The map.
That's good. Not to the enemy nexus, I hope. But we come back from the fight.
That's not solo queue.
And thank God. Grubs are taken by LR. They got all 3, by the way, so look at that. Insane charm.
Snap engage, the quick play onto Checolad with the charm from the bush. This is why it's so important to have control on the banana bush. They do have the ward, but still, the charm lands. The snap engage, pops it, he panics, flashes against the wall, and then the resets. We'll just watch Nemesis fly around.
The Thager misses the Q through the wall, the Raptors. This is so sad. Legolas survived with flash barrier up. He could have potentially made a play with the blade caller once he had ulted. Thager smashes his head on the wall as well. The whole mind control we're talking about, Lost RATONES might just be real for game 1.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's completely over, right? Like, I do think there's really good parts about this Blitzcrank specifically. There's no one to really catch a hook. I do feel like it is a hook equals kill situation.
What's happening?
What was the...
It's an attempt with the global.
Okay.
Doesn't quite make it land onto the Nemesis right there. It is a bit scuffed, though, I will say.
All right. Baus, back to his normal position between tier 1 and tier 2 enemy. Tier 1 and tier 2. This time, very good boy this time around. Just pops the ward. right behind the tower, turns around, proper laning phase for Baus, as is. I mean, like, he's 1 and 2, right? And his flash has come up, and now he's starting to stack the feast as well. So
one of the threats is down, though, for him to proxy. The Talia is down for another 130 seconds or so he can proxy more as long as he sees Vi, but he doesn't see Vi.
You were saying?
So...
You were saying?
He's just going to go. You know what? Throw everything out the window. There he goes. He dies. So I assumed he was going to wait to see Vi on the map. But little did I know.
Chase goes, you know. Checkerlad's going to come up regardless, and I mean, Thega has to be careful because
Please don't Galio
he doesn't have his ult, rather, so he doesn't have to be careful. He's going to play around a little bit. He's going to die, but again, this time around, it's not like there's a massive trade on the other side of the map. That might be a bad death, question mark.
However, that's a 4 versus 5 on the map. You're going to get the reset from Vi while Cho'Gath is still dead, does have the teleport, and in 25 seconds, you've got the second dragon coming up on the map. First one collected by Los Ratones over in the early game. And let's see, there is no items actually currently on both those AD carries. Level 8 just now for Checkerlad, for Legolas, sorry.
Playing with his cranny in the meanwhile. Let's pay attention. TP is going to be poured. 5 members are going towards bot, and Barcelona want to get themselves onto Velia. Now that Baus is here, though, this is going to erupt. Everyone paying attention to the second dragon.
Onus is on BARÇA right here. They have the Vi ultimate into the Galio combo. Hook lands, and it's a kill as well. But they're going to move in. It's gone.
It's just gone. It's feasted. Baus got his 5th stack, and now they're looking for the fight. The charm again forces out the feathers to fly over the wall. Nemesis right there. But with a wild growth, it's a bait. It's a ruse. He will die eventually. But the defensive play from White Knight keeps Los Ratones there. Crowny in full ulti. It's 1 for 1 so far, but Nemesis was looking a little bit more. Velia finding Legolas. That's what he wants up next, but Shielded Ran holds him in. Velia way too greedy. Crescent Guard popped out at no health as Crowny tried to save him. Reckless is the savior, though, really. As White Knight whittled down, and Crowny, if only he had his ulti, would do something as Baus is looking for the mid lane, and ulti out from Checkerlad. A 1 for 1 in the end is all that was taken.
That is so miscoordinated by BARÇA. There is no Talia ult to begin this dragon fight, to break them apart, to try and scout. They're too late to the party, so they play spectator mode for majority of that. And by the time they go in, they're stuck in a choke point. 4 versus 5, because Checkerlad never joins them.
I think the idea here is that Legolas ultis and they play in this choke, right? With the feathers in this choke, the threats of it.
The 4-man
knockup is so good. And then you have Checkerlad never joining this fight. The disengage is there for BARÇA, and then they can hit mid with a grub, I believe.
I feel like if Talia was there, that fight would be over for BARÇA. The 3-man knockup that White Knight managed to get onto the Galio, into the taunt, into the knockup as well would have been fantastic. But again, there has been some mismanagement with the ultis. I feel like BARÇA are really overreaching to try and make plays mid by sacrificing the Talia wall over and over again. And this time around, it was also sacrificed to get away from a Cho'Gath that was chasing Checkerlad over in the mid lane. So again, cooldown usage has not been the best for the Spanish team, and so far LR find themselves on a 2,000 gold lead.
Yeah, and now you can see Reckless is pairing up with Velia here. With the Enchanter plus Xin Zhao combo, you're essentially invincible. And this really sucks for Thega. Right, you really want to play on this Sundered Sky Spike, but you're really not allowed to because you don't have your support.
And playing towards Nemesis as well. I mean, this Ahri that's doing well in this game gets a bit more resilience, or rather a priority, as Nemesis just takes more plating as well. That 2k maintained to a degree as Baus is proxying. Checkerlad wants a kill, and he should be able to find it. Seismic shove, bit of poke damage. He does have a proto belt, but the rocket grab in makes it a little bit easy, and Baus is just going to try and kite it out. Maybe get a kill on the way, but unfortunately, the Feast won't finish the job.
Not quite going to lose his Dark Seal stacks there as well. Proxying on the weak side of the map, 1 versus 3 potential is always impressive, but it's gonna you're going to see a kill go over to the Crank lane.
That time was nicer, I guess.
I mean, like, that was a good death. That was actually a good death. Reckless and Crowny had been beaten on the mid lane tower for the longest time, and taking that mid lane tier 1 is huge. The more you deprive BARÇA right here of vision, the better it is for that Xin Zhao and the Ahri to make plays through the walls on the side of the mid lane.
Yeah, not to mention also you have 3 grubs on Los Ratones, so anytime you buy time...
Fixed, and we are back into game. This delay, hopefully, as Blue Buff just gets yoinked in, won't set off the players too far, as we know.
That's the extent of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, we are going to start with Herald, and I'll give you an update after that. Remember, Los Ratones are in a lead as we start off a fight. Checkerlad has just flashed away. Nemesis is going to ulti away, and there's going to be follow-up with the Hero's entrance. They're all in this Ahri, but they can't kill him yet. Nemesis does good damage on the way, and they've dove deep for this as Thega takes a double turret shot, and the convergence from Los Ratones now becomes dangerous with a feast from Baus, and BARÇA are just cornered and left isolated now. They've sent everything for Nemesis. They gave him the Baus treatment, and it bites right back for LR. They've just picked up not 4, but all 5 of the Spanish squad. It's a full-blown ace and a massive lead for game 1.
Do I have time to change my prediction earlier?
Are you feeling the 3-0 Russell Lost RATONES yet?
Kinda, man.
Yeah, but that fight was so cool because they dumped everything. BARÇA dumped everything onto shutting down Nemesis right there, even diving the tower with the Vi super, super deep. And then it's just on Crowny to clean up the entire rest of the fight. Zeri is so good at cleaning fights when unfocused, and that's exactly what he does.
I'm just left wanting more, man. Like, Chocolate has not had one good position in a single neutral objective to set up BARÇA for success. And we were casting his Talia the other day, Hysterics. Like, his Talia is really good at setting up his team at objectives, pinching people, forcing flashes. And right now, it's just Chocolate finding himself in really awkward positioning. Same thing as the previous one where he lost his flash.
Yeah, it's that specific bush, the banana bush, engaging from there. That's what Chocolate keeps messing up. Around there, the snap engage can be so fast because the bush is so powerful there. And then everything is used. Every single thing is used. Crowny can just free hit. Baus is just wailing away at them, and there's nothing to stop him here.
I feel like they ultra focused on the Ari, who's super sleepier, and if you don't get her on the first dash or the second dash, I think this is where you give up and you can turn around. That didn't happen. Chocolate had already committed his flash and ends up falling to Valley at 1v1, right? So I feel like so far, BARÇA, they haven't really used any of the strategies we talked about in the early game. There's no mid-support synergy. They don't set up for these objectives very well. 3 first Dragons already gone minute 17 to Los RATONES. That's going to be a super early soul.
Yeah, diving very, very far forward. It's really, really hard for the Xayah to even take part. They're not playing off of the hooks, where I still feel like 1 hook equals 1 kill, except for how tanky Velia is now.
Shortest bop ever.
Yeah, I know. It's going to be followed by an even longer ride, though. But they're going to get the knock-up on the way through. You see that Velia does it so that he can get some safety. Crescent Guard will follow that as Hook goes into a minion. Whiten, unfortunately, not able to converge. And with half the damage on the turret there as well, 4k gold lead. Crowny is left alone because BARÇA grouped up in a massive unit, so more damage done to mid.
That was also really cool. He used the Reef Turtle to get vision in that bush and knock anyone up that's in there to make sure that it's safe to push for the tower. Has to burn his ult, but it's fine. There's no neutral objectives currently under play, so that Zinza ult will come back up.
And I really feel like this Blitzcrank value is getting lower and lower and lower. The tankiness of the Zin, the raw HP from the Bruiser items, and now Baus is even building tanky items. He loves these components. We always see him sitting in chain vests and stuff like this. It's going to get harder and harder to actually make plays off of the hooks that you land versus these tanky champions.
That's reckless. He's going to stop this recall here. Make it annoying for Whiten. Maybe even get a kill because Nemesis is ultied. Orb Deception out. Waiting for the charm. That will connect. And Baus, it's a free stack, isn't it? He just autos for it because he didn't have Feast up and available, but it's going from bad to worse. And you know, you got to feel for BARÇA a bit. They obviously had some tech issues. They came out of the pause into a big fight, and you know, momentum's not really a meme. It's very real for teams when they have to put themselves back into the driving seat. And obviously, you're just saying trouble. In the early game, at the very least, the first 10 minutes, there wasn't much driving from the mid-jungle duo from this comp. So it has definitely gone from bad to worse, to say the least.
Not only that's the case, but also Aragon said it very well. Blitzcrank loses his value. Vi becomes a non-factor when she falls behind. She's literally just 1 ult. And I feel like at this point, even if you were to dive a Zeri all the way in the backline, which we called very defenseless earlier on, right now you've got such a beef line around you with the Zin, the Cho'Gath, Lulu offering even more protection, that is just so difficult for Thagir to just choose a target and say go.
Yeah, and now I'm looking forward into the future. It's such an early soul, right? It's going to be about 21 minutes. And Thagir there was looking for a flank, but that gets scouted out by a blue trinket as well. So prepping for these team fights, looking for picks on side lane with the Vi's very confident.
Chocolate in trouble. No a rupture up and an instant beat. Baus looking for his solo kill. It's a shove back though, but Baus with flash will not commit. Thanks to Phase Rush, Chocolate is alive and safe.
Whew, his flash just came off of cooldown as well. That would have been so disastrous. 10 seconds for the attack and you lose your Talia, you lose your setup.
Yeah, good discipline from Baus too. He could have flashed the knock him and then got a kill, but maybe he values holding the flash for the dragon.
Okay, well, maybe now he has to actually use it. Rare to see him lose a cannon, or at least want to, but as he runs for his life, he gets his Swifties into motion, or rather Moby Boots. He wants also to be safe from this blast cone, but Whiten brings him back in. Shielded Durand and 4 members on top means Baus will eventually die. While Atakan is getting started up, I mean, you saw the Vi, you know this is free, so again, good death.
Another good death right here. Picks up, what, 4, 5 members, the entire group of BARÇA over on the top side of the map, both sides of the map. Los Ratones just take the attack, and thank you very much. Now, it will be kind of worth it for BARÇA if they do manage to get that mid lane tier 1, and I suppose they will because Ari just showed up on the bottom of the map, and Baus is still there for another 17 seconds. So that is a pretty good push right here from BARÇA.
Yeah, XP is going to matter a lot too. You've got ranked ultimate on the Lulu now.
Oh, you're getting away from Seismic Shove. He went in instead of going out. There's the Crowny ult, though. Shocking everyone within range onto Legolas. A defensive ult as Value's already pulled out the Crescent Guard. BARÇA are deep in enemy jungle. They're getting sandwiched. They're getting crunched with a teleport. It becomes a disaster. Waiting to play. Baus with the one-shot. Value with the kill on the back. And White Knight with nowhere to run. Just when it looks good for BARÇA, Los Ratones snap them shut.
An extension into the enemy jungle, trying to find Velia here from BARÇA, but they just can't quite pick him up. Velia then flashes over, finishes off Checolad, and it's another 3-for-0 play. It's just a stomp, this game.
Yeah, I feel like from BARÇA, the commitment is just so half-hearted, right? There is no champion selection to go all in on one. I feel like there was once onto Nemesis, they overcommitted, and ever since it's been very, very scattered. And especially when you put yourself in a choke point, we can get flanked from many sides from Los Ratones when their champions have so much agency in playing that way. As Thager's gonna find Baus.
But I think Baus with this, ulti comes up in a second.
They're gonna play TP.
But they're committing teleports to Baus again. And Dragon's up in 15 seconds. You see jungle top. I've used the word disaster
this is
before.
a disaster.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
The comedic timing could not be better. And Jungle just dies. Chocolate sent skyward and Baus is on the run, but he's got Reckless by his side. This is going to be a double. This is going to be trouble. And Chocolate now regretting the decision. Baus with a grin on his face, and Los Ratones know this one is in the bag.
Chocolate was laughing as well on the bottom right. I feel like they know that, you know, they're cooking up for game number 2 already. You know, they tried their hand and it just didn't work. Got beaten off by Baus twice now. This is gonna be most likely a very clean Los Ratones game, which we don't usually say because our early game looks a little bit shaky, but not this time around.
Not able to one-shot the Cho'Gath, not even being able to get your ulti off on Vi there to one-shot Baus, and now you've got a Mountain Soul, Cho, and a Velia on this Xin Zhao as well. How do you kill him?
I mean, Velia is way tankier than Cho'Gath right now.
The question about the Blitzcrank's usefulness, you're definitely not getting a hook on a kill now.
Where is Reckless? He says, whoa, Michael Jackson. What was the start of that replay? As Baus just gets full dove and double ulti committal.
Yeah, I mean, nice spacing right there, but committing all these members, and then you see Reckless and Crowny were on the way. Crowny decided not to join the fight. He knew that Baus had it on his own, and then Reckless joined.
I wonder if Vi managed to get the ulti off through the silence, like before the silence or after the silence. You know, if he managed to live that long.
But he stars it up, hey.
Yeah, if he managed to get that,
Reckless
then
also had flash, you know, so.
I wonder if the kill could have been possible, but I don't think so. I think Baus just eats him alive there, and then Soul. They're gonna look topside for some cams, but you know. It's kind of copium at this point.
It is.
At least we got Grump, you know?
Well, that's nice. Get what you can at this point. For BARÇA, it's been a rough game 1. It's been a longer game 1 than the time indicates, of course, but everything in the kitchen sink. Only 2 turrets picked up for BARÇA. Those are the only objectives. And for Velia, as he comes in, he sees that Thager's in his own jungle, but it's not his anymore. Velia wants a little piece of the pie, and 3 members spotted out in top, mid getting pushed as well. Reckless wants something and wants to help Nemesis get it. As Baron comes up in a minute, this topside control is going to lead to another objective eventually.
Who's going to face check that jungle? You do not have a member that's tanky enough to dip into fog of war and try to get any remnants of vision for that Baron.
They're trying to death push, but they're on a ward.
Velia has his ulti as well. You don't want him. The hook is going to do absolutely nothing. As you said, Aragon, who are you going to hook and what is it going to mean? Wave instantly cleared. Los Ratones grouped up as 5 as well. As Chocolad's ulti is going to be late because 4 members already there. Seismic Shove does nothing because they're tanks. They've just got no damage. The Xayah can never step up. She's the one you want to be hitting these front lines.
It's fine. Nemesis was right. Talia's trash.
Okay, well, apparently Nemesis, he's hooked in though, so Nemesis, he might be wrong.
Cursed him!
I mean, at the very least, it's 1 hook, it's 1 kill, it's something for BARÇA, but Crowny is unleashed. Look at him in the back as Legolas has to ult immediately. White Knight, the tank, the front line is no more, and Baus is continuing to pad the stacks with 10 into his back pocket in the top left of your screen.
At this point, any fighter's good. Nemesis says that he goes in and gets caught by the Vi ultimate, but it doesn't matter.
That was on me, sorry.
Yeah, true. The catch is real. I don't think there's any way to make it here in time, let alone get into the pit with the Q. You can get body blocked and knocked away. Baus is shadowing Baron.
He's like a shark just circling around the red pit. Thager's gonna try his luck. He's gonna find a dinosaur.
And there's no feast there, because otherwise he's dead. 5 seconds, yeah. I'm counting as well. Flash away. Legolas has no ult. Bounce. He's going to match that, though. He's on a rampage. And all it takes is another bite. Sink your teeth in. And the meal tastes all right. Lost RATONES are playing with their food again.
Reckless just W'd him as well to give him the movement speed right there to be able to connect the feast, and Lost RATONES with 5-man buffs from Baron. They're going to push into the base for the end.
It's 25 minutes, 26 ticking over. LR, Krupa's 4, and Nemesis is working down on bot, but they can go for the Nexus turrets. It's 20 seconds onto Legolas. It's our grand final, but yet again, I'm getting some deja vu. I'm getting LR's resurgence, beaten once by BARÇA on the lead up at 2-0. We remember, but this is not the way it was. This is not how it started. Game 1 only, but LR put up a clinical performance to open up their back-to-back return.